welcome to another Backyard Professor Chess video. This game was a fun game because the influence of the rooks on the open files showed how powerful an open file is, even though you technically don't use it as much as you could, and yet it has its function to stop the king from escaping. In this game I played black. My opponent opened with a ridiculously silly opening, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to punish him right now. I'm going to do a central pawn. He pulls his bishop up. I pull my knight out to guard my pawn and threaten his pawn. He pushes his pawn. And now I'm going, oh well, alright, I'll pull my knight up here on the outpost. It's not going to stay there for very long because, of course, he can push his pawns up to chase my knight out, which is what he does. And I simply take that pawn. It was a silly opening on his part, I believe. However, he did get my knight. So I'm a power down. I threaten his bishop. He pulls his bishop back. I threaten his bishop again. I've got good central pawns, and he brings his bishop back to here. I bring my bishop out. He brings his bishop up and takes a pawn. He's playing pretty good. I'm not playing so well. I'm thinking, you know, I've got to do something here. I'm going to go ahead and bring my queen out, threaten his bishop. He puts his bishop on a good outpost, although I can chase it away. But I pop my queen right to here. And now I believe I'm starting to get something going here that's kind of fun. I'm thinking, you know, I'm going to find a way. Of course, he's going to threaten my queen. He can't leave my queen there forever. He does exchange my bishop. And I'm thinking, I'm getting my butt walloped here because I'm down a knight and a bishop. What the heck? I could have swore I was better at opening than this. I'm getting tremendously beaten black and blue here, and I'm going, I've got to be able to do something against this guy. What can I do? He castles. I bring my bishop out so that I can castle. I've got to at least castle because he's got way more development now. He's certainly got way more power, and at this point I'm weeping and wailing and gnashing my teeth. I'm thinking, holy cow! How did I find myself in this kind of a rotten position already? The game's barely begun and it's almost over, and I'm on the losing end. What the heck? I take his central pawn. He, of course, takes my central pawn, and now look at his position. You know, I'm sitting here rubbing my ear, trying to wiggle my nose to hope a magic occurs, because he is absolutely incredibly powerful here. He's got total centralization. His development is way better than mine. I'm down pawns and powers. I don't have any kind of counterplay going at all. With no counterplay, I've almost got nothing in this game. What do I do? Well, I have to get rid of his central power. He ignores my threat to his bishop and puts me in check with his other bishop. I have to move out of check. He ignores my threat to his bishop, and he brings his rook out into the open file to attack my queen. This guy is playing very strong chess. I need to do something, so I dodge my queen out of the way. He brings his rook up to here and threatens my queen again. I'm getting pretty disgusted at this point. He really has total control of this game. Now he finally takes the pawn and threatens my other rook. And I'm going, this is a nightmare, man. I've got to try to wake up here. I pull my rook over and directly challenge his rook in the open file. Because my rooks are connected, my queen's covering my rook, I have to grab that file. Or at least prevent him from having it. Otherwise, he's going to continue mowing me over. This is why I want you to begin to develop faith in rooks on open files. It works. He, of course, takes my rook, but it's what I want him to do, because now I have the open file. This is the only redeeming value of my entire game at this point, is I have the open file. And that's all I've got. Do you see that? He's played astonishingly well, and he continues eliminating me by taking my pawn with the bishop. I press my pawn up, trying to keep a central influence somewhat. He pulls his bishop right back down there into the hardcore center, and he's threatening my bishop again. He wants to exchange all the pieces, of course, because he's up the exchange enormously. So he's willing to trade off the bishops. He still has total central control, a much better development, a much larger army than I do. What do? I pull my knight to here. He pulls his rook. Notice this. I've told you 1,000 times. The rooks belong on open files. He pulls his rook on an open file. For the love of Sam Walton, man, this guy is clobbering me. Hello, McShirts. He is showing me how to play chess. He's absolutely outplayed me. But I've got an ace up my sleeve that he missed. I bring my queen up, giving him some bait. He stupidly takes the bait. He acquired a target. I left the target alone. He came and got the target, and he acquired the 7th rank. You see my next move? I admit, it's a sucker shot. It's a cheap shot. I take the pawn. Check. He moves his king out of check. And I drop down and go checkmate. A power mate. The power and influence of the rook on the open file prevents the king from escaping. He apparently did not realize that I had the open file. I don't know where he went to sleep at, but it really shocked us when I checkmated him after this kind of a game. But it's the basis of an open file on a rook that got him checkmated. That's what I wanted to point out to you. When you're in a game to where you are completely outplayed like I was, and you're really upset like I was, and you're wondering, do I even know how to play this game like I was, have faith in the rooks and the open files. Make use of the rooks and the open files. When you do that, you open up possibilities to take away a sure win from your opponent, just like I did here. So happy checkmating, and I will see you in the next video.